there, friends. Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library. And Zephyr and I are here today to talk to you about a book that we are so excited to talk to you about. I've actually really wanted to talk to you about it ever since it came out back in May. But I knew I wanted to save it for a really special occasion because it's just absolutely phenomenal. It's for sure one of the best books I've read so far this year. And the author is just absolutely amazing. So the reason I wanted to wait, and even though I read it, like I said, when it came out in May, and I was really excited to share it with you, I really wanted to wait until a special time, and I think that November is the perfect time for it because November is Native American Heritage Month. And even though it's so important to read these types of stories all year long, obviously, right? This time of year, November, is really a perfect time to really focus and feature and highlight stories written by Indigenous authors that are about Indigenous people and Indigenous stories, right? So the book I am talking about today, Warrior Girl on Earth by Angeline Boulley. Now, this is technically considered a young adult book, but the reason I am actually doing this, talking about this book for the adult video, is because I think it has so much crossover appeal. I think that so many adults have read and loved her work, and I think that it is a really important book, both this and her previous book, for adults to read, as well as young people too. But I just absolutely know that so many adults will love this one as well. So this is actually Angeline's second book. Her first book was Firekeeper's Daughter. So if you haven't heard of this one, you may have heard of this because it's a New York Times best-selling book. It's been critically acclaimed. It's been on the New York Times bestseller list, and it's been optioned for a film or a TV series from actually the Obama's film company for Netflix. And it's just been, when it came out a few years ago, ever since then, it's just been getting a lot of really great critical acclaim. So these are not part of a series. They are not, like, this is not book one and book two. They're separate stories. But if you do want to read both of them, I think that it is a good idea to read this one first because a lot of the characters overlap. So there are some things that they talk about in this book that may spoil this one, if you read them, out of order. But like I said, they're not really part of a series, so you don't have to. If you're interested in reading this one first, you can. If you're interested in reading this one first, you can. It really doesn't matter. Just know that there are some things in this book that are referenced in this one that might give away a couple things in this one. But it really doesn't matter. You can read them however you like. Now, I did talk about this one before because this ended up being one of my favorite young adult books of, I guess, 2021, whenever it came out. So I'm not going to talk too much about that one today, but I do really want to focus on this one. So the reason why I think that it has such a great appeal for adult audiences as well, in addition to having read it and just knowing that, we had the extreme honor of actually hosting Angeline Boulley at Farmington Community Library last month in October. It was a wonderful event. She was just so lovely and gracious, and she spoke about, her writing and her works and just a whole host of other things. It was absolutely fantastic. And that room was filled to the brim with adults. Lots of young adults too, but like I said, this book has a really big cross-generational appeal. So even if you are a person who's like, I do not like young adult books, I do not read young adult books, don't say that for this one, because I guarantee you're going to like it. And if you're looking for a fantastic story to read during Native American Heritage Month, you should try this one. It's so good. So the thing that I really love about Angeline's works, including, Firekeeper's Daughter and this one, is that she takes a couple issues of that feature that the Indigenous community is dealing with, puts it front and center of the book, and really lets you know all about it. So in Firekeeper's Daughter, it was the first time when I read that a few years ago that I ever learned about the problems that a lot of Indigenous women face, right? So many different things that they go through, so many different things that happen in tribal communities that she really talks about and just puts it in the focus. So this one takes another really important issue that I had no idea what was going on and lets you know all about it so that you are just like, oh my gosh, This is so interesting. I need to learn more about this. What can I do to help? And that is basically the fact that a lot of museums and colleges and universities are still holding on to the remains of Indigenous peoples' ancestors. Their bones, their funerary objects, a lot of the things that they've created. There's all these different loopholes in the laws that where even though they were supposed to return them to the communities they belong to, they have not. They drag their feet and they just hold on to these bones and these objects for long, long periods of time. So this book brings that all into the focus and does so with a phenomenal character that I absolutely loved, which is Perry. Now, Perry is part of a twinship. She's got her and her sister Pauline. Pauline is the sister that's really, really good, quote unquote. Like, she's really good at school. She follows the rules. She's got a plan for the future. Perry is the fun twin. She is the one that's really good at fishing. She's the one that wants to stay on Sugar Island in Michigan and does not want to leave her community. She knows where she belongs. She doesn't mind having a little bit of fun along the way. Well, her family gets involved in this high-profile murder investigation, as well as all these Indigenous women in the community have gone missing, and nobody seems to care. I mean, obviously her and her people care, but it's really, she's having a hard time understanding why there isn't more focus on that. As well as finding out about all these remains that these different colleges and museums and stuff have. So Perry, being Perry, decides that she is going to take this into her own hands. And she is going to form this crew, or a task force, if you will, who's going to help her steal some of these objects back. So if you think of like Indiana Jones, right, or a Lara Croft Tomb Raider, who these characters that are stealing all these objects, well, think about that, but as an Indigenous woman stealing these objects to give them back to where they belong, sort of like Robin Hood, but with within the Indigenous community. So this book is so incredible because it really just goes back and forth between different themes, different emotions. Like, there's lots of moments in here where you will be laughing with Perry as she has these antics with her friends and her sister. There will be other moments when you are just so wild with grief about the different issues that are going on and the sorrows that happen in this book. There will be times when you are just taken aback because you're learning something you had no idea about. There's just so many different emotions and feelings that take place in this book. It is just absolutely phenomenal. This is a book that should be treasured all year long. Doesn't matter when you read it. But if you are looking for a really, really wonderful Indigenous book to read, specifically in November, look no further than this one. And like I said, please, please, please don't pass it by because it's technically considered a young adult book. This is a book, featuring a protagonist who is right on the cusp of adulthood, and there is such an appeal for all ages, well, teen and up rather, to enjoy this book. It's absolutely phenomenal. Highly, highly recommend it. Warrior Girl Unearthed by Angeline Boulley. Do not miss this one. It is a gem. Well, that's what we've got for you guys today. I hope that this book sounds really, really awesome and that you're super excited about it. If so, please feel free to come check it out from Farmington Community Library. And also, please give this video a like. Thank you so much for watching, friends, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day.